Generation X is defined by its cynicism and the physical autonomy of the latchkey era. Conversely, millennials are recognized as the first digital natives, their lives shaped by early and constant connectivity. Between these two groups lies a 9-year window, from 1976 to 1985. For decades, the people born in this gap didn't have a clear label, often feeling like outliers in both camps, until sociologists identified them as a specific microgeneration, the Xennials. Childhood for this group was defined by analog constraints. You memorized the phone numbers of your friends, and if you weren't home to see a television broadcast, the experience was lost. Boredom was an inescapable physical reality. Right as this cohort reached early adulthood, the technological landscape shifted suddenly. They moved from childhoods of physical notes and landlines into a 20s defined by the rapid rise of social media and the launch of the first smartphone. This demographic occupies a space that defies standard generational logic. They are too young to fully identify with the skepticism of Gen X, yet they remember a world that younger millennials cannot imagine. Their sense of isolation is a neurological byproduct. It is the result of the human brain reaching its most adaptive stage of development at the exact moment society underwent its most aggressive technological overhaul. Xennial childhood was characterized by high physical autonomy. Before the rise of intensive, constant supervision, children were often left to solve their own problems and navigate their neighborhoods for hours without adult intervention. This environment allowed the brain's autobiographical memory to function as nature intended. Our brains are designed to edit our personal histories, keeping the significant moments while letting the trivial or embarrassing details naturally fade and reshape over time. Because this cohort grew up offline, their most awkward moments exist only in stories. Without a digital archive to fix those memories in place, their pasts remained fluid, allowing their self-image to evolve without the weight of permanent, searchable documentation. This stands in direct contrast to the experience of younger generations, whose mistakes are often captured, uploaded, and preserved forever. For millennials and Gen Z, the natural psychological process of forgetting is constantly interrupted by the digital record. This analog baseline provided Xennials with a resilient psychological foundation. They developed a sense of self that was independent of an audience before they were ever introduced to the digital world. Research published in Nature Neuroscience shows that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for high-level reasoning, is still maturing well into a person's mid-20s. This window of development is critical for learning how to adapt to new environments and master complex skills. It is the period when the brain is most physically capable of rewiring itself to meet new challenges. When we overlay the historical timeline of the digital revolution, we see it hit its peak exactly as Xennials were in this window of high plasticity. Their brains were biologically primed to absorb these new technologies at the exact moment they appeared. This created a unique form of technological bilingualism. They are old enough to understand the logic of the analog world, yet young enough that digital systems feel like a native language. However, as they attempted to use these new skills to build stable lives, they were economically burned. The 2008 financial crisis arrived just as this cohort was trying to establish their careers. Psychological research into financial trauma suggests that instability during this life stage leaves a permanent mark. It shapes an individual's relationship with risk and security, creating an underlying anxiety that persists even after their circumstances improve. This specific timing forged a generation that is technically fearless, yet perpetually cautious. They can navigate massive change because they've done it before, but they do so with the constant awareness that stability can be temporary. These events produced a personality defined by contradiction. Xennials are independent and self-reliant, yet they value cooperation. They are deeply skeptical of institutions, yet they remain optimistic about the power of connection. Their dual perspective allows them to see the true cost of convenience. They appreciate the speed of the modern world, but they are uniquely aware of what we lost in the transition, the patience that comes from waiting, and the mental clarity of being truly unreachable. Feeling caught between two worlds is often described as a source of isolation. But for the Xennial, being the bridge between the analog and digital eras is actually their most valuable attribute. As the world enters another period of rapid transition, this time driven by the rise of automation and artificial intelligence, the ability to bridge two distinct realities is becoming a necessary survival skill. The Xennial experience suggests that the human brain can survive a total environmental overhaul. It is possible to rewire for a new era, adopt its tools, and master its rules, all while retaining the core identity formed in the world that came before.